What's going on, guys? JSGC here, and we are here for a Manchester City transfer news update. We've had some big developments going on with a couple of bits of transfers. We're going to crack on with them news stories now. First up, we're going to be talking about Frankie de Jong. Following on from last transfer update, Sam Lee from Goal, quite a reliable source at Manchester City, he has been saying that Manchester City are overwhelming favourites for Frankie de Jong, and Barcelona have been put off by what Manchester City are willing to pay for Frankie de Jong. However, Barcelona are hoping that if they can push, coming from goalless, they're hoping if they can push through to Frenkie De Jong and say, you want to play for Barcelona, you want to be able to play alongside Lionel Messi, they're hopeful that they may be able to talk him into joining them instead. So Man City favourites, Barcelona though still confident is what we got from that, and they're hoping to be able to talk him in. Now, Damasio from Sky Italia, he's been saying that Manchester City and Barcelona are ready and are making their move for Frankie de Jong, and Barcelona's move is more decisive, so maybe following on from Goal, they are willing to speak to the player and they're trying their best to try and persuade him, whereas Manchester City are taking a more laid back approach, if you get what I mean, much like the Alexis Sanchez approach. I'm not too keen on that approach, if I'm honest, where they just go, here's our offer, if he wants to join he joins, if he doesn't he doesn't, and we'll move on. That's the kind of thing that Manchester City do in the transfer market. That's how we are. If the player wants to join Manchester City, he will join Manchester City. Now, the Record have been reporting that Frenkie de Jong is Manchester City's #1 midfield target, but like I said, they're taking a laid back approach, so there's a chance that he could well join Barcelona rather than forcing through a move to Manchester City. And with that being said, they've drawn up some contingencies in the form of Tanguy Ndombele, Julian Weigl, Rabiot of PSG, Ruben Neves, Lamina of Southampton, Soumare of Lille, and Declan Rice of West Ham 2 are just some of the targets that are being chucked out for Manchester City. An interesting list, some good quality in there, some iffy transfers if I'm honest. So that's according to the Record. So I'd like to know in the comments below, if we don't sign Frankie de Jong and we're going to sign a midfield, if we do sign a midfielder, sorry, in January, who would you like that midfielder to be? Let me know in the comments below. We're going to move on from Frenkie de Jong and we're going to be talking about a player called Oscar Bobb. Fantastic name. 15-year-old Norwegian sensation from Norwegian club Valerenga. I'm hoping I'm saying their name right, but he'll join when he turns 16. That's according to VG, which is Norway's biggest newspaper. So yeah. Looks like he'll be joining the Manchester City Academy soon, so good luck, young man, if he does end up joining Manchester City. Now, a new transfer, we've been linked with a player called Ozan Kabak. Is that how you say his name? I hope so. But he's from Galatasaray. He's been linked with lots of clubs in Europe. Manchester City getting linked too. He's an 18-year-old centre-back. He's apparently got a value of €20 million, which is around 18 million pound. But according to some rumours, he's got a clause in his contract, £7.5 million release clause, which is around £6 million, which is brilliant. If he is available, I imagine won't be the only club interested. According to Tuttosport over in Italy, Inter Milan, Borussia Dortmund, Bayern Munich and Roma are also linked to Manchester City's name getting chucked in there. Maybe we're just getting chucked in there to up that price for Galatasaray. But next up, we've got some news on Jadon Sancho. It's not Manchester City signing him, but we do have the option, if Dortmund decide to sell Jadon Sancho, that if we match whatever that club they've accepted the bid for, our offer will be accepted too. We have that option there to be able to match it and join in with the deal if we want to. So that's a little bit of an interesting news from Dortmund. Now, next up, we're talking about Brighton's under-19 and under-19 Republic of Ireland striker Aaron Connolly. 18 years old, plays for Brighton's under-19 sides. Man United and Hoffenheim are interested in too, and Manchester City are linked to, according to Sky Sports News. So that might be one to keep an eye out on in the long haul. We'll see what happens from there. Interesting one. Let me know what you think of that. Next up, Pep has been speaking in a press conference and he said, and I've said this before and I'll say it again, he wants only one player. And that's what he wants. Not just in January, but in the summer, he wants just one player. We want some cover for Fernandinho. So I'm just wondering that, well, obviously, I think the central midfielder will be the option that we go for, because we do need cover for Fernandinho. But I'm just a little bit concerned about the left-back situation at the moment. I know Zinchenko can play there. I know Danilo can play there. I know Delph can play there. My problem is, Benjamin Mendy is very injury prone now. He's picked up two relatively serious injuries in his time at Manchester City. He's got a track record, not just at Manchester City, but when he was at Marseille and when he was at Monaco, of having a bad injury record, which means we might not see a lot of Benjamin Mendy when he does play, and he has to have his own separate training schedule for him to be able to ease upon his injuries. It's not good from a Benjamin Mendy perspective. It's not good from a Manchester City perspective because it leaves us short with one player. Now my concern is that Zinchenko has been linked with a lot of moves away in January. Whether Man City, because of this injury, decide to sell or not is up to Manchester City. I'd say they were this close to selling Zinchenko in the summer. They may well take up the option to sell him in January. Man City were willing to sell him in the summer, by the way. They might be willing to sell Zinchenko again in the summer if Zinchenko wishes to leave for more game time. If that does happen, we're left with just Walker and Danilo at right back and Delph and an injured Mendy at left back. My concern is that Fabian Delph's injury record, whilst being better than Mendy's, isn't brilliant. Danilo's record, we're needing cover with Kyle Walker, so I'd like to use him predominantly as a right back. Left back is like a third choice rather than Zinchenko. We're getting suited to go in with a central midfielder rather than a left back, and I feel like, not maybe in January, but in the summer we should be looking at a left back, some quality competition for Benjamin Mendy. I just got a feeling in a few months' time the injuries might start piling up and teams might start putting pressure on them. As much as I like Fabian Delph, you got to remember he's a central midfielder first and a defender second. He isn't a full front left back. He's done extremely well. It's just, if Fabian Delph's been fantastic at left back, imagine what you can do in Manchester City's midfield, and it eases the pressure in our midfield too. It's just a little bit of a thought process. But again, let me know what you think of that in the comments. I was saying that on about left backs, Man City have been getting linked with left backs. It's just I'm not sure if we're going to sign one, but Tuttosport have been saying that Jordi Alba's been linked with Manchester City from Barcelona. He's also been linked with Juventus too. The 29-year-old, he hasn't been approached by Barcelona for a new contract. His contract is up in 2020. We know that Juventus are looking for a new left back. Alexandro apparently has been made available if they get the right offer. Juventus will, and they're looking at Marcelo and they're looking at Jordi Alba. Apparently City are looking at Jordi Alba too, and there are rumours going around that we're looking at Alexandro too, so we are getting linked with left backs. Whether Man City go for a left back or not is another matter, but always interesting that players are getting chucked out there. Now last up in the ins, and a very interesting one with some news that broke last night, overnight, this morning, whatever you want to say. Columbus Crew goalkeeper Zack Steffen will join Manchester City on January 1st, according to the Times, for a fee believed to be around £5.5 million to £7.8 million, which makes it one of the largest transfers in MLS history. Talks are going on in the USA for the USA goalkeeper. I'm presuming that this is Manchester City looking at sending Aaron Muric back out on loan. This young goalkeeper, by the way, 23 years old, he's a decent goalkeeper and decent backup for Manchester City. I presume it's to allow Muric game time to go out on loan. We loaned him out in the summer. We had to bring him back with Claudio Bravo's injury. And speaking of Claudio Bravo, I'm not too sure where that leaves him come the summer. We know that he's out injured. He's not expected to be back until some point next year, some point this season, but next year. So we might be looking at January, February, March, April, May. Maybe not even then, take your pick. But where does it leave Bravo come next season if we do sign this new goalkeeper? That's an interesting one maybe to keep our eyes out for. We're going to move on to the outs now, and we're going to be talking about some very interesting news regarding Brahim Diaz. Now, reliable sources from Jose Alvarez, who is very reliable with some information at Manchester City, has said Real Madrid have reached an agreement to sign Brahim Diaz on a free contract next summer. He won't be renewing his deal with Manchester City and he'll be leaving next summer. I'm a bit disappointed that Manchester City haven't sought to try and sell him in January. I've kind of resigned myself to losing Brahim Diaz. I think Brahim Diaz is a wonderful football player. He needs more minutes. I'm not too sure Real Madrid's the club for him to go and get more minutes, and if he's good enough, well, you know, he's taking the risk. Fair play to him. I'm a little bit disappointed to be losing Brahim Diaz. I'm more disappointed that Manchester City haven't sought to do anything about it. We knew that he weren't going to renew a contract. Why they haven't tried to sell him, I'm not too sure. They aren't actually allowed to talk to a player until January, so how they've managed to reach an agreement in November, that's beyond me. But, you know, these kind of things happen in football. It'd be interesting to see what Manchester City's next steps are. In particular, it'll be interesting to see who they do decide to promote next season, because obviously a homegrown trained player at Manchester City down, they'll have to promote someone to make up them places next season. And last but not least in the news, we've got news on Marlos Moreno. He's been out on loan at Flamengo in Brazil, and apparently he's flopped. He's not done that well, and he'll return back to Manchester City on December 31st when his loan deal expires. And like I said, apparently, according to some information that I've got in from Brazil, he's not been that brilliant. So I'm wondering what next for Marlos Moreno. We signed him for quite a decent fee, if I remember rightly. I think it was what was it, between £5 and £10 million for a player that hasn't hit it off anywhere and hasn't really done well. He's gone back to South America and again hasn't done that well. So what next for Marlos Moreno. We'll keep you in the loop in regards to that in January, because I'm sure we'll have more information on that. So if you're interested in Manchester City transfer news, don't forget to subscribe, press the bell, put your push notifications on, be notified when I've uploaded, because we have got a lot more transfer news videos coming up over the coming weeks as we head towards January. Daily Manchester City transfer news updates in January, throughout all of January, so stay tuned for that. If you love transfer news and you love Manchester City transfer news and Manchester City, you want to be kept up in the loop, make sure you subscribe, put your push notifications on. Don't forget to also leave a big thumbs up if you enjoyed this video. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Don't forget to check out my social media, Twitter and Instagram. I'll keep you up to date with what's happening with Manchester City on there. Links to them in the description below, along with my email if you want to hit me up with any sponsorships or any videos or any business enquiries. Don't forget to check out my second channel, Jason Sidlow Travel Man, and don't forget to check out my brother's partner channel, Mixed Do Mixology Drinks. I'll leave the links to them at the end of the video. Just click on the profile, you'll see their content. Like and subscribe over there, like and subscribe over here. Don't forget to share the video, help my channel grow, and also don't forget, aiming for 2k subs before the year's out, so it'll be ace to be able to hit that. We're just short of just over 200 subscribers away from that. We've got just over a month to try and get that, so it'll be ace if we could do that. That is my aim, so hopefully, fingers crossed, we can reach that. So it's been JSGC. Hope you have a wonderful rest of your day. We'll have an analysis up for the Lyon game tomorrow, and we'll have more transfer news, or probably early parts of next week, so stay tuned for that. So it's been JSGC. Hope you have a wonderful rest of your day. Peace. Ciao for now. Making it one of the largest transfers in MLS history over in the United States.